Hello, namaste, sweet creative friends. Thank you so much for being here today. Just made myself a cup of hot green mint tea, and I had a huge desire this morning to just sit down and film something for you guys and talk a little bit about some things that have been weighing on my mind. Not in a heavy way, but weighing on my mind in a good way, like something I've been turning over in my mind the past several days. I feel like lately I've been going through this period of transition. And because of that, I've noticed certain patterns that are like these healing, cleansing patterns that follow that feeling of transition, and that have actually helped me so much to make transitions into new positive habits, new positive lifestyles. So I wanted to share a bit about what some of those things are and how they've helped me, especially in this present time. I've been traveling, and I've just felt this transition spiritually into greater lessons learned, these new layers of learning. It's like this feeling of growing up, and I feel like I understand that more as a mature person now. Things I didn't understand as a child, things I understand in my adult life that I look at so much differently. And it's like you can sense this childlike growth within you now as an adult because you couldn't appreciate those transitions when you were younger, but now you do. At least that's what I found for me. And so I've been sensing these transitions into greater understanding, greater spiritual growth, expanding spiritually. And as that feeling has arisen within me, I've noticed certain like physical needs that come up to deep clean. And that's a phrase that I've heard. I was actually just listening to a talk, I'll link it below because it was so good, by a wonderful monk that I listened to a lot of his teachings. And he was talking about this concept of deep cleaning the atmosphere around us, cleaning our spaces, taking care of our things, looking after what we own, letting go of things that are no longer serving us, and how that physical tidying, that physical purification of our environment actually affects things going on within us. And that resonated so deeply. And that was one of the things that sparked the deeper desire to sit down and film this and chat with you guys. Because I was thinking, I'm like, wow, that's exactly what I've been feeling lately. I've been letting go of so much physically. I recently went through and decluttered my wardrobe and decluttered so many things that I own. I don't even like to use the word declutter as much as I used to. I released those things. I let so much go physically as we've been traveling, as we've been transitioning. I let go of so much stuff because I felt like it's time to peel back some of those layers that get stacked on top of us. That's kind of how I like to look at it. I think that's a good metaphor, is as we go through life, as we're journeying, we can have things get stacked on top of us, these layers that start to develop around us. Maybe they're physical possessions that we get caught up in the ideas of ownership. What do we own? How do we identify with those things? How do those things make us feel? Projects that we're working on, things we want to accomplish, our level of productivity, and how we identify with that, how we judge ourselves based off of that, how much we can produce, how much we're doing on a daily basis, and how we kind of grade our performance based off of that. And what are we holding on to? What are some of the things, concepts that we're just clenching our fists? We're not letting it go. What are some concepts of ourselves, maybe limiting thoughts? Maybe I can't do something. Maybe I've never been good at that. Maybe I can't ever see myself accomplishing this thing, this goal. What are some of the limiting beliefs that we have about ourselves that we could release? We could uncurl the fingers. We could let that go. So those three things, those three areas, I feel like those are layers that start to get built up over us. We're caught up in thinking about the things we own. We're caught up in thinking about what we need to get done and grading our performance. And we're caught up on limiting beliefs sometimes. And so as we start to grow spiritually, I think so much of that lines up with the physical world, is part of the physical world. And as we feel those like pangs of growth, we're drawn to transition physically. Let's release those things that maybe we've built up a surplus of. Maybe we don't need that in our lives anymore. Maybe it's helped us on our journey and we've arrived at that place and now we can let go of that thing. There's just been so much lately that as I have decluttered, I've found that a better question to ask myself, and I feel like I may have touched on this in a past video, but it's this question of not so much, is this serving me anymore? Is this something that I want? But is this something that could serve someone else better? Is this something that could impact someone else's life in a more positive way? Is this something that has served me and now it's time to allow it to serve someone else, to release it so that it can be a force for good in someone else's life? And that totally shifted the way I looked at decluttering. It's this releasing objects, respecting them, giving them the reverence that they deserve as something that has helped us in our journey, but something that we can now release and give it a new life and allow it to transition toward helping someone else. So that's something that's been refreshing my soul lately, is as I feel like I'm like growing spiritually and learning new things, it's led me to desire to align my external with the internal, and as I do that, it's also aligning my internal with the external as well. So as I align myself with what I'm learning, it's leading me to deep clean. It's leading me to be intentional. And as I'm intentional with the things around me, it's then turning back like this beautiful cycle, and it's helping to purify me internally. It's like aligning these two things. And I think that it helps us to acknowledge and respect our physical surroundings as something spiritual, as something sacred, to give ourselves environments of creativity and inspiration in whatever way best serves us. It's all part of our practice. It doesn't have to be a separate thing. It's not like, oh, our spiritual lives are our internal lives is all that matters, and so we can give ourselves time to meditate, and we can read good books, and we can be mindful, but then our external world is kind of a mess. We can acknowledge like, wow, no, actually it's all sacred. It's all part of what helps us move forward on our journey. It's all part of the path. It's all part of what creatively inspires us. And so therefore I can be working and moving and breathing internally and feeling that growth and that development, but that's going to lead me to want to align my external world with the internal. And then as I do that, that environment is just going to promote further spiritual growth, further learning, further expansion. And it causes you to look at the concept of decluttering differently. I think a lot of Western imagery can be very unhelpful in portraying cleaning and looking after your environment and the things that belong to you as a chore, as a hassle, as something that is a burden, when in fact in so many other cultures and ancient traditions, this is a sacred responsibility of giving time and attention and energy, paying your resources towards maintaining and loving, spreading love, attention, and care, mindfulness to everything in your world, and allowing it to become this complete circle, aligning your space in such a way that it brings you joy, it brings you peace, and it helps you to continue expanding internally. And I don't think that means that you have to have this huge amount of space that is all pristine and zen and aligned beautifully, and you have to have no noise, no clutter, no distractions. There are a lot of you guys are in situations where you have maybe kids running around and some animals and clutter, and not all of that can go away. And that's okay, because you can acknowledge those things as sacred, as part of your life. And you don't have to feel a need to make those things change. You don't have to change those things. You can work on, how do I affect the immediate space that I'm in right now in a positive and harmonious way? And allow that to mean whatever it needs to mean for you. Don't allow these images on Pinterest of what a perfect minimalist room needs to look like. What does it need to look like for you? What serves you personally the best right now in this moment? And that's going to look different from what served you a year ago. And a year from now, it will look different than what's going to serve you now. And that's okay. And I've learned that. And I'm still learning it on this journey, because I look back at where I was 3 years ago or so when I first started getting mindful about my environment. And things were so different then than what they're like now. But yet it met me exactly where I needed to be. So those are a few thoughts that I was having the past couple days, and I wanted to share them with you as I continue to transition. And I know this isn't a very practical step-by-step guide about how to declutter, but I think these are some deeper inward questions that we can ask ourselves, deeper concepts that we can consider as we make our environments more peaceful, and as we make our interior environments, that which is within us, more peaceful and more aligned. So I hope that this message reaches you in a positive way. I am going to be starting something new on my channel. I am going to start going live once a week and doing some of these talks live, because I was thinking that would be really fun to just hop on live and chat with you guys, pick a topic about mindfulness, minimalism, and I can ask you guys questions in the community tab and find some topics that you would like for me to cover. And I think it'd just be really cool to be live face to face on a video with all of you. So I'm drawn to the idea of these taking place on Saturday. So I'm gonna shoot for Saturdays, and as far as time, I haven't figured that out, but watch for a post in the community tab where I will be posting about what time I will be going live. So that's something new coming to the channel. I'm really excited about it. I think we've grown on this channel so much. I want to say a huge heartfelt thank you, sending you compassion, gratitude, love for being here. So many of you are new, and I can't tell you how much it means to me that you're here. And I think our paths have crossed for a reason. So thank you so much. Watch for the post in the community tab. Make sure you're subscribed so that way you get notifications when I post about what time I'll be going live. I'm going to try to take into consideration all the different time zones and find hopefully something that will be convenient for as many of you as possible. So I'm excited about that. If you enjoyed this video, it always means so much when you share it with someone that you think might need it, that they might need a message like this. If you feel drawn to give in any way, you can find my Patreon link below. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here. Subscribe, like the video if you liked it. And I would love to have you here in the community. That would mean the absolute world to me. Until the next video, my friend, I wish you so much joy in your journey. Namaste.